Shalom. Call Halayimla Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors to the beloved apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. The tabernacle of David, starting with the 144,000 and the rest of the men, women, and children out of the 12 tribes, whom Yahweh Bashem Yahushua will have mercy upon in these last days. I'm your brother M.O.T.B from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Melbourne, Australia. And this is going to be a prophecy update pertaining to the M.O.T.B, all right, which is the RFID micro C hip. Listen up, listen up.
The United Nations is proposing a universal digital identification system that would be directly connected to people's bank accounts and payment apps. So if everybody had a UNID, this would connect the whole world under an identification system, because the UN is all countries. So you wouldn't only have a United States ID. You would also have a UN ID. The UN had this agenda briefing. It's called the Global Digital Compact, an open, free, and secure digital future for all. Now, why would they want to connect to the banking? If there's some way that the whole world is going to communicate under one currency, then they're going to have to be identified under one unit of identification. And so that's why I thought it was interesting that it wasn't just ID, but if this UN ID, the goal is to be connected to my banking system. I still think this is so strange because this is directly correlated with the whole idea that the IMF wants to create a global banking system. What's interesting is that when you look at what the World Economic Forum propagates, they want to propagate human identification with a biometric system. And they have this program called the New Champions, where they allow new companies to come in to help them with their agenda. Fingerprint cards joined the World Economic Forum's New Champion initiative, and their whole objective is to create biometrical identifications and put it on debit cards, smart cards, and identification cards.
And see, just as we've been telling you, because he said a point in a video that everything, they want the whole entire globe, right, to be under this one, digital card that's going to link everything. And what he doesn't understand is that's part of the new world order. OK, but we understand when you read the Bible. All right. This is nothing new that, in times past, whether it was the Tower of Babel or whether it was what's his name? Antiochus Epiphanes. All right. Which Lord's will, we'll get both of them to give you a recount. But the difference is, as Yuval Harari, which is Klaus Schwab's little dominion, he said, in times past, the world leaders, all right, they couldn't figure this out. But now we have the technology to bring everybody together. All right. And so let's just get a few precepts just so you can understand. All right. Let's go to Genesis, the 11th chapter. OK, universal language, Babel, confusion. All right, because that's what the word Babel means. OK, and just like Babylon the Great, which Babylon goes back to the word Babel, which means confusion, because look at what's going on in America today. Everything is upside down, man. All right. But let's get it here. Genesis 11:1. And this was the very first account where a new world order was trying to be established. OK. It says, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And when you go into the history, even your top scholars will say that one language back then was known as the Lashon Kodash, the Hebrew, which we all spoke. OK. Verse 2, it says, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly, Salakia. And they had brick for stone and slime had they for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the children of men, OK, because there's three classifications of men. You have the sons of power, which at this point in time was through you had Shem. OK, then you trace the lineage of Shem all the way from, Methuselah, Faxad, Eber, Peleg, all the way down to Abraham. The sons of men were the men of the other nations. And then you also had the sons of the wicked, all right, who came through the Edomites later on. Before the Edomites, they were actually the the sons of Cain, all right, before the flood. But nevertheless, it says, verse 5, and Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And Yahweh said, behold, the people is one. All right. Just like how he said in this video that they're trying to bring everybody together under this one system. OK, that's why the Bible says that which is then is now, meaning what happened back then is happening all over again today. The only difference is technology has upgraded. OK, so let me read it again. Verse 6. And Yahweh said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begun to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. You see? So Yahweh, through his angels coming down, checking out, basically he understood like, yo, because that's another thing too. If the Lord wanted all of us to be together, okay, he never would have done what he is about to do in the next few verses on down. Let's read. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So Yahweh scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. If Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua was for everybody, if he is the God of everybody, no matter what your nationality is, this, that, and the third, please explain to me why at this very beginning of going back to the Tower of Babel, did he scatter the nations when they were all one together? I thought, because see, you Christians here, you put this nonsense out here that God loves everybody. Well, what happened with the Tower of Babel situation? How come the Most High back then wasn't for that? Huh? Verse 9, therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Yahweh did there confound the language of all the earth, and from this did Yahweh scatter them abroad upon the face of the earth. That don't sound like love, right? Now let's get another account of a new world order being established in the Apocrypha. Let's get First Maccabees, the first chapter, around the 40th verse or so. We'll start at verse 41. Now, this is during the Greek Empire, okay, that started with Alexander the Great. And later, when he passed away, the kingdom was parted four ways to his four generals, Seleucus, Ptolemy, Cassandra, and Lacomaeus. All right, those were his four generals. It says, First Maccabees 1 and 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, just like the Tower of Babel. One people, one language, one authority, right? One government rule. And everyone shall leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath, much like what our people are about to do in this generation when they try to establish their new world order. Many of you Israelites, you so-called Latinos, Negroes, and Native Americans, all right, and the rest of you Israelites that are scattered, mingle amongst the other nations, you're going to consent to the new world order. You're going to bow down and take the RFID micro C hip. That's what you're going to do. There is no new thing under the sun. What they did back then, they're going to do all over again today, because you're the same ninjas back then, okay, that were under Antiochus. If you understand regeneration, reincarnation, okay, you're the same ninjas back then that was doing this wicked stuff. And you decided, all right, to bend over and worship this man in his kingdom, much like what you're going to do with Esau, Edom in this time. It says, verse 44, for the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they shall follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they shall profane the Sabbaths and the festival days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people. set up altars and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice of swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. All right. And this is how begun the process of, when you jump to the New Testament, why the Pharisees and them had a problem with those particular Jews who were not brought up under the law of circumcision. They were not brought up under the customs, because it goes back to what was written here in the Maccabees. So when Paul was sent out in the New Testament to speak to all of those Greeks, he was speaking to these people that had to leave off after the circumcision, because from generation to generation, you being brought up under the Greek custom, you were not circumcising your male-born children. That's who the epistles was written to when you jump to the New Testament. But that's something you Christians don't know, nor do you understand that. Anyway, verse 49, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. That's coming back again today. Revelation, the 13th chapter, breaks that down. Anybody who's not going to worship the beast or his image, all right, they shall be killed. You're going to be you're going to be cast off from society. You're not going to be able to buy and sell. You think this is a joke, right? That which is then is now. So you can see when Antiochus, when he was running things back then in his time, he wanted to bring all people together, man. One rule. Okay. So, you know what this dude is saying is, hey, we've been telling you, starting with the apostles, the bishops, and elders on down. Now, what he doesn't understand how this is going to work. Let's check this video out.
We tend to establish the equivalence with cash, and there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also we will have the technology to enforce that. Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is.
All right. So that's the time we in, man. Okay. They want to track everybody. And this is what Aaron Russo said. Let's check this out.
The ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union, right? And they want to create a new currency called the M.O.T.B, right? And the whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is given me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
And that chip's connected to a database that has your purchasing records, what you do, what
Everything.
you sell.
Everything is in there, you know? And so they want a one world government controlled by them, everybody being chipped, all your money in those chips, and they control the chips, and they control people, and you become a slave, you become a serf.
And we're going to show you the key part he said was you become a slave Okay. See, you Israelites out there that's teaching the wrong thing, you gonna pay. Let's get Revelation 13 and 16. We're gonna show you how the mark of the beast leads to enslavement, slavery. We're gonna show you. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And we do this all the time. When you go into the word mark, okay, it's the Greek word for the word mark, charagma or charagma,
Strong's G 5480. Charagma. Charagma.
a stamp and an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the Antichrist, which there's many Antichrists, not just one. The mark branded upon horses, a thing carved, sculpture, graven work of idolatrous imagers. Now check this out. When you jump down to the Strongs, it says a scratch or etching. Okay, when you look up those words, scratch or etching, it means an incision, something that's pierced through your skin. It says a stamp as a badge of servitude. What is servitude? Okay, slavery. So everything that man said, Aaron Russo on a video, that you are a slave to the system, that's what you truly are. That's what you truly are, man. Okay, it's a badge of servitude if you take this. Now, when you go into the etymology of charagma, you have the word charax, which is a palisade, okay, which is a utensil that's used to insert the chip that's going to be implanted in your body, known as surveillance under the skin. Okay, Strong's definition says through the idea of scratching. Okay, that's what that palisade is, which is the needle that's going to be used to inject in you the micro C-hip, man. Surveillance under the skin. Now, when you jump down, let's read verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell save he that hath the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. And his number is 603 score 6. And when you go into 603 score 6, all right, which is he size stigma, and you go into the word stigma, which means to stick or prick. It says a mark pricked in or branded upon the body. To ancient Oriental usage, slaves, see that, and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master or commander, branded or pricked, cut into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belonged to. And there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the token of their gods. Strong's definition says stizo, to stick or prick, a mark incised or punched for recognition of ownership. So you know that little barcode system, all right, that's set up for all of your food and stuff when you go grocery shopping. Yeah, that barcode is going to be implanted in you, and it's going to serve as a badge of servitude, recognition of ownership, because now the top banking elites, okay, the Edomites, they own your ass. And this is what we've been trying to tell our people, but our people know the M.O.T.B is spiritual, Ak. You don't know what the M.O.T.B is, not the RFID chip. Yeah, bullshit. You can play that game all day if you want to. We know where this thing is headed at, man. And call Halayim Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for giving us the eye salve through the apostles, the bishops, the elders on down, man, to see this thing all the way through. And Abaratazar, we be those men. Lord's will, we endure it until the end, man, because this thing is going to test a lot of people. As the scripture says, this is known as the hour of temptation that shall come upon all the world to try them. And most of y'all not going to make it because y'all going to fall and y'all going to take the RFID micro C hip. You know? So that's where we at, man. I'm going to play this one more time and we're going to close out.
The United Nations is proposing a universal digital identification system that would be directly connected to people's bank accounts and payment apps. So if everybody had a UNID, this would connect the whole world under an identification system, because the UN is all countries. So you wouldn't only have a United States ID. You would also have a UN ID. The UN had this agenda briefing. It's called the Global Digital Compact, an open, free, and secure digital future for all. Now, why would they want to connect to the banking? If there's some way that the whole world is going to communicate under one currency, then they're going to have to be identified under one unit of identification. And so that's why I thought it was interesting that it wasn't just ID, but if this UN ID, the goal is to be connected to my banking system. I still think this is so strange because this is directly correlated with the whole idea that the IMF wants to create a global banking system. What's interesting is that when you look at what the World Economic Forum propagates, they want to propagate human identification with a biometric system. And they have this program called the New Champions, where they allow new companies to come in to help them with their agenda. Fingerprint cards joined the World Economic Forum's New Champion initiative, and their whole objective is to create biometrical identifications and put it on debit cards, smart cards, and identification cards.
There you have it. So let's close out. All right. Because I ain't want this to be too long. But we're going to get Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4. Actually, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come and it will not tarry. And that vision that was written through the prophets, okay, mainly John the Revelator, of what he saw, that vision is coming to pass, man. It's only a matter of time before they actually mandate this thing and roll it out completely. All right. We also want to back that up with Ezekiel chapter, not 3, but chapter 33, Salakia, and verse 33. It says, and when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet had been among them. So when they mandate this thing and it comes to pass, okay, as we read in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, it won't tarry. Wait for it. When this come to pass, you're going to know that the men that were out there preaching the 100% truth, mainly Great Millstone and the rest of our affiliates, you're going to know that you were in the midst of prophets. All right. So with that, I pray that this lesson was edifying, and I want to give all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah HaKwadash. Double honors once again to the beloved apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David. Shalom.